Well, in particular, Republican establishment. We happen to know somebody from the establishment. Is former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, also the author of Understanding Trump, a big New York Times bestseller, and host of an online show, Defending America, Newt Gingrich. Newt, thanks for joining us. What did you make of Rush Limbaugh saying the GOP establishment does not want our president, Donald Trump, to win?
Well, let me say, first of all, I want to congratulate Abby. Her dad was confirmed yesterday to go to Moscow. And he's the only guy I know who's been ambassador to both Beijing and Moscow. So it's quite an honor for your family. And it's great that he's a citizen and your mom's a citizen willing to serve the country in those tough spots.
Well, congratulations to your family as well. I know you're going through it, too.
Right. Look, it's a complicated process. Look, I think that, first of all, much as I admire Rush, and we've known each other many years, I think he's a half step behind what's happening. Are there some never-Trumpers? Sure. Are there some people who cause trouble? Sure. But let me give you an example. This is the postcard tax form that 85% of Americans will be able to file under the new Republican tax plan. Literally a postcard. Now, that was developed by the Trump White House, by the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans as a team. They launched it this week as a team. I think that they've learned a lot of painful lessons over the last 9 months. I think they recognize that all three are relying on each other. Trump is not going to get his big changes without the Congress. The Congress isn't going to be successful without Trump. And I think in that sense, it's a mistake to look at the complexity of our constitutional system and then assume that that's because people don't want to help Trump. Our Constitution was designed to be really hard to get things done in order to avoid dictatorship.
Well, they did it.
And they did it.
Right.
I always tell people they did such a good job of making sure dictators couldn't run the government. We can barely do it voluntarily. But when I talk to them, and people tend to gloss over this, Mitch McConnell got 49 out of 52 Republicans to vote to repeal Obamacare. That's 3 who voted no. There were 48 Democrats who voted no. That's 16 Democrats for every Republican. So if you want to blame, quote, the establishment, you ought to start with the Democrats, because they're the ones who are constantly on every single issue blocking and slowing things down, not the Republicans.
Right, but you know that there were, pardon me, I was just going to say, you know that all those Republicans who voted no, essentially, had said in the past, give us a chance to repeal and replace, and we'll do whatever we can. They were given the chance, they said no.
Right. So you can decide. Actually, in the case of Susan Collins, she'd been very consistent.
She was.
And she had always said she was doubtful that this was the right way to go. But so let's take 2 other Republicans. You can focus all your anger on the Republicans for these 2, or you can say, gee, if we could pick up 6 or 8 seats next year, life gets dramatically easier. Now, I'm just saying, as somebody who's been around a long time, the Reagan model would be, let's go out and take care of some of the 48 Democrats who voted no, give ourselves a bigger margin for error, and we'll get a lot more stuff done. And I understand there's a certain desire on the right to always be mad at ourselves. There's a certain group of people, frankly, who make money sending out appeals to attack ourselves. I don't, as somebody who worked with Ronald Reagan, I don't think that's the right way to do it. Well, we focused on the country, not on inside the party fighting.
As Kim Streisler writes today in the Wall Street Journal, it is really 3 people. It is Collins, McCain, and Rand Paul. And they're not necessarily out to stop Donald Trump. In fact, the people that were seen to be most against Donald Trump vote with him all the time. Senator Ben Sasse, as well as Senator Jeff Flake. They're always with them on issues. Their problem with them perhaps is personal. So that doesn't really make much sense. Do you fear that Steve Bannon is going to go target those out there and cause this so-called civil war on the right?
Sure. Look, I mean, Bannon's unleashed. He has several billionaires backing him. He's going to have a lot of fun. In some cases, he's going to drag the party further towards not so much right or left as it's a question of how aggressive. I'm not sure that Judge Moore is going to be dramatically more to the right than Stranger in terms of his votes, but he'll be much more aggressive, much more verbal, much more attacking and being angry. So, but that's how parties talk to themselves. Look, the Democrats have a huge crisis coming because they have Bernie Sanders carrying towards socialism in a way that the country will repudiate. We're having an internal fight, but the fight's over a very simple question. How do you drain the swamp? And I want to go back to the taxes and to this postcard. The Republican plan cuts money off from the swamp. The Republican plan puts the money back in your pocket. So if you're serious about taking on the swamp, you have to help pass the Republican tax cuts, because they're a major step towards economic growth and a major step towards taking money away from the bureaucracy.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do these lawmakers care about more than anything at all is winning their reelection. Newt, always good to have you with us. Great perspective, as always.
Thank you.